I absolutely love this as the Boston Celtics come out and we see them take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that is atop the Eastern Conference. And with the Boston Celtics, momentum and power from Derrick White in the fourth quarter, once again being super, super clutch, this Celtics team was able to pull out the victory led by Joe Mazzulla and get a much needed win versus a team ahead of them in which they could almost possibly pass leading up to the end of the season. And we're going to be diving in and looking at all of this and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support on the channel over the last couple of weeks, and it's been super, super appreciative. With the trade deadline looming near, we will be live once again tomorrow for our weekly live stream with my boy Nick NBA. So make sure to stay tuned for that at 6 p.m. Hopefully, if the Celtics do make a move, we'll be breaking that down. But if not, we'll be looking at this Celtics team and any other potential moves that happen near this deadline. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into this video. Make sure to grab your snack. And like I said, this is absolutely great to see. I love seeing this happening as the Boston Celtics continue that win streak, ladies and gentlemen, as they pull off 4 straight and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in a revenge game on the road. If we want to dive in and look at this, like I mentioned, a 112-105 victory here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs were making it a little bit close at the end, but the Celtics were able to hold it out, giving us a little bit of some shakiness with missing those free throws. But we did see the Celtics play pretty solid here on the edges. And if we want to look at the box score here, we did see Jaylen Brown really start off and be effective for the Celtics team. At one point, he had 12 points. The Cavs had 6, but he only finished with 16. Didn't play much in the fourth. Had some foul trouble as he had 5 fouls. So Joe Mazzulla ultimately did give him a little bit of a rest here later in the game. But Jaylen Brown was very effective early on. Jrue Holiday was a little bit weird. Kristaps Porziņģis was very solid defensively for this Celtics team. And Jayson Tatum had some spurts where he was running with the young guys early on, really, really delivering. We saw Sam Hauser go 50% from the field. Al Horford have a massive impact for the Celtics team. 3 threes for Horford. He had a double-double. And this game was the first game, I believe, since the Raptors game that he had more than 10 points at halftime. So a little over a month for Al Horford to get that little out of that little rut there, but that is fantastic to see. Luke Cornett played some fantastic defense on Evan Mobley tonight. Evan Mobley was locked up by these big men, and our boys were doing their job in Luke and Allen. Peyton Pritchard hit some big-time shots, got some late-game rebounds as well for the Celtics on some missed three-pointers that definitely helped the Celtics keep their possessions alive and not let this Cavaliers team crawl back into it. But I think the main story of tonight's game has to be our guy, Derrick White. But before we dive in and look at Derrick White's stats, let's look at the Cavaliers, as they had obviously Donovan Mitchell go off. He dunked on Kristaps Porziņģis, something Celtics fans are definitely going to want to forget. But like I mentioned, Evan Mobley, 3 for 14 from the field, had a bad pass late in the game, 7 points, did not play that great. Sam Merrill, a guy that little underrated for this Cavaliers team. He had 3 threes for them, had 12 points as well. And Darius Garland, 25, Donovan Mitchell, 31, Jarrett Allen, 17. But like I mentioned, let's dive back and let's discuss Derrick White, as he was probably one of the most clutch players for the Boston Celtics tonight. And this is what you love to see as a Celtics fan, is Derrick White really coming into his rhythm. And he had some spurts through this season where he had been cold, but in a recent hot streak, he has really emerged for this Celtics team and has been delivering as that second to third star when they need him most. And that's all you can count upon with Derrick White. He was 50% from the field, 6 3-pointers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 50% from the 3 as well. Did miss both of his free throws, which was a little shaky, but had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block to go with his 20 points. And if we want to look at a little bit more of a more detailed look at it from Justin Turpin, like I mentioned, 20 points for Derrick White tonight. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, where he scored 14 of those points, were 5 of 6 from shooting from the field and 4 of 5 from 3 in the fourth. He's back, and so are the Celtics, who have won 8 of their last 11. And that's something that I've mentioned on this channel multiple times with this Celtics fan base is that everyone overreacts with this team when they lose, get in a little bit of a rut, have some games where they ultimately should win. And I was at one of those games where they played the Atlanta Hawks, where ultimately in overtime, they should have won that game. They should have been able to close it out in the fourth quarter. They did not. And I was frustrated as well. But you have to realize with this Celtics team, you cannot freak out. They are still a top tier team in the Eastern Conference. And currently, right now, they are only 4.5 games back from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Celtics, even though they have maybe not making a big swing at the trade deadline, could make some more minor moves to really boosting up this bench unit to go alongside some of these standout guys like Luke Cornett, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, and Sam Hauser with this starting five to really add some more depth with some ready now players to fill in for those holes, like guys like Jordan Walsh or maybe Neemias Queta. And that could give the Celtics some ultimate more depth and beef to compete against the Cavaliers team. Now, the Cavs are maybe interested in some guys too, but I do believe that the Celtics could catch up to this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and they've proven that they can beat them through the playoffs last season when they beat them in the second round, even though they did have some injuries, but also with their new shaped roster, with Kenny Atkinson as their new head coach, with them being a very dominant team in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics have been able to beat them on their home court, and that is something that you have to appreciate as a Celtics fan. You got to give your respect to this team, and realistically tonight, they all showed up and delivered for this squad in matters most. Al Horford, like I mentioned, was a sleeper for the Boston Celtics tonight, and a guy that really delivered on both sides of the floor. Al Horford, big kudos to him, and Derrick White, once again, really delivering from three-point range. Coming up clutch in the fourth. We have seen this multiple times. Like I had mentioned, I very vividly remember last season him doing this versus the New Orleans team and at home, and you just love to see when Derrick White is back. I know my grandma is going to be texting me tomorrow, and I can't wait to discuss and talk to her about how Derrick White was so influential in this game, because realistically, he is a standout player for the Celtics team, and you got to love it. But let me know what you guys think down below in this comment section, how you guys ultimately feel about this Boston Celtics team. Like I mentioned, they just got a huge win. They are continuing this win streak as they took down the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road, the top seed in the Eastern Conference. And I love to see Derrick White back on that hot streak. I love to see Al Horford really stepping up for this team. And I really like to see this Celtics squad gearing up for this playoff run coming up in the future with the roster that they have. And I still think that there's no team that can stop them in the Eastern Conference. But I want to know your thoughts, so let me know what you think down below in the comment section down below, as I really do appreciate all your guys' thoughts and comments. And I want to know, let me know if you guys are going to be coming into the stream tomorrow. Like I said, me and Nick will be live at 6 p.m. Eastern, discussing everything Boston Celtics, looking back at this week, analyzing some of the games. We'll be looking at some bright ones, obviously, because they did get some big wins. The clutch comeback versus the 76ers. This obviously big win versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll also be looking at the Celtics future week and any trades that happen to the Celtics in the future leading up to the trade deadline. But like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your night, and go Boston Celtics. Peace out, everyone.